Buckle up, our roller coaster weather is about to take a wicked turn. All of that rain is about to become ice and snow, making for a wild ride tonight and in the morning. The timeline straight ahead.
And in Ottawa, it's not just the threat of snow hanging in the air. The nation's capital tense with anticipation as police prepare to take action against pandemic protesters. We are live on Parliament Hill with the latest.
You're watching Global Toronto. This is Global News at 5:30.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Alan Carter.
And I'm Tracy Tong. It is day 21 of the pandemic protest in Ottawa. Pressure is growing on the truckers to roll out. We'll get to our Sean O'Shea in a few moments. He's in the nation's capital.
But here in the GTA, a winter storm is arriving this hour. It could cause problems on the roads this evening. Our chief meteorologist, Anthony Farnell, is tracking the storm. But first, meteorologist Ross Hull is out there in the thick of it. Ross.
Well, good evening. We started off with some rain, then ice pellets and freezing rain. It's been quite the roller coaster when it comes to temperatures and conditions out here. As you can see, we have transitioned to snow. This is the snow part of this event after heavy rain today. And what we're expecting is this snow to intensify. Now on the roadways so far, because we are just starting to see temperatures drop, we're seeing accumulations on grassy surfaces, but not yet on the roads. But the concern is as this snow intensifies, and that's what we're expecting starting over the next hour or so and lasting into early tomorrow morning, those snowplows likely won't be able to keep up. The good news is the timeline looks favorable in terms of the snow ending for tomorrow, but I'll let Anthony Farnell detail the radar and what to expect in terms of amounts and so on. But we were expecting the snow to arrive, and it has, so if you don't have to head out on the roadways over the next couple of hours, I would recommend you don't. We'll be covering this story in full depth throughout the hour. Now I'm going to throw it over to Anthony with the timeline and what to expect.
Yeah, and Ross, you're just north of the station up at the 401 and Don Mills, and it's snowing there, but into the downtown core, still a mix of ice pellets and rain. So that's the fine line between the two. But even downtown Toronto, surrounding areas around the lake are going to switch over shortly. And this is the heavier wave 2 that we've been anticipating and right on schedule, just in time for the tail end of the evening commute. We've already had a transition all the way back towards Burlington, the Halton Hills, Kitchener, Cambridge, Guelph, back into London. It's been freezing rain all afternoon, now switching to snow, and we still do have a pocket of rain right down by the lake, but that isn't going to last very long. Now, the concern is, as Ross mentioned, the snowfall rates. With that temperature at -1, the roads are still rather wet rather than white. But what's going to happen? It's going to cool off. We're down to -2 or -3 for much of the evening tonight. But it's those snowfall rates of 2 to as much as 4 centimeters per hour that's going to start piling up. Plus, there's puddling. There's all sorts of flooded roadways as well, and fields, backyards. All that ice is up. So a snowfall warning in white. Winter storm warning where there's still the risk of ice pellets across southwestern Ontario, and where Sean O'Shea is, where all the protests are going on in Ottawa. 30 or more centimeters could fall there. That's going to be the brunt of the storm, but it looks like about 15 to as much as 20 around most of the GTA and then points east. And this is all in a short period of time, within about 6 or 7 hours. So it's starting now. It continues through the night tonight. There's the heaviest snow right at 10 or 11 p.m., and then it starts to lighten up. And that is some good news. If we can get this snow out of here by 3 or 4 in the morning, well, we're going to give the plows some time to get onto the streets before many of us need to do the same at 6 or 7 in the evening. So there's that temperature. Tomorrow morning, -9 with a -17 wind chill. We started the day today at +9. Big turnaround. It's all happening right now, guys.
Thanks, Anthony.
It's time to go. Your time in our city has come to an end and you must leave.
And we are following breaking news from Ottawa. The city's interim police chief telling protesters if they want to leave without incident, now is the time to go. And that window of opportunity may be closing. Our Sean O'Shea is live tonight from the Capitol for us. Sean, some movement on the ground. It seems there is a heavier police presence today, too.
heavier police presence at Tracy, and as you guys reported, the snow is coming. Boy, the weather has really changed, and that's going to make a big difference to enforcement. Yes, they've been warned. Yes, they've been told if you want to get out, now's the time to get out. So let's have a look at what's going on right now behind us. The police have just moved in over here. I mean, this is just the first of the enforcements that we've really seen today. The police were walking around, handing out tickets to people, notifications that they would face arrest. There's an arrest happening right behind us right now. We're right in front of Parliament, on Parliament Hill, to the right of the Parliament building. OPP are here, Toronto Police are here, and this is just developing right now. There has been peaceful to this point. There have not been arrests, but there are arrests, at least one arrest I can see. One person is down on the ground right now. The police chief saying that the time to get out is now. They've talked about the fact that there will be 100 checkpoints leading to the downtown area. They're creating what they call a safe zone, and this safe zone means that if you want to get into where we are right now, you're going to have a good reason for doing it. You work down here, you live down here, you're covering a story down here, because they want to keep people out of this area who shouldn't be down here. They're trying to cut off the additional people that are coming and visiting the protesters. That's going to start to happen, and the hope from the police perspective is that that's going to stop the number of people, or at least reduce the number of people coming down here so that they can try to get these trucks out of here. It's going to be a monumental task. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up later on the show. Back to you.
Thanks so much, Sean. And just watching this dramatic scene unfold here, obviously a considerable police presence right where you are here. Has there been a systematic clearing? Have there been other arrests and police actually moving people out, or is this the first of this that you're seeing?
Not at all. Just as we came on and you came to me, this is what happened, because all day police were knocking on the doors of the trucks, giving them those notes, very gently asking them, to take heed of that. But there was no enforcement at all. A lot of police walking around in groups, making their presence known. Downtown areas blocked off with cruisers here. But no, there's been no attempt to arrest anybody, to move anybody out, to tow any trucks down here. One truck actually has been here for the last 3 weeks, just near where we are right now, about an hour and a half ago, voluntarily turned and left. But that was the first, and we're going to see whether there are more coming now, given this police promise. They say that this is it, that the end is coming, and that if you want to get out, you're going to have to get out right now. But you just saw the first of the arrests that we've seen here today. Alan?
Okay, thank you, Sean. Developing news in Ottawa. Our Sean O'Shea reporting there. We'll stay on top of that as it develops. Meanwhile, federal lawmakers kicked off a debate on invoking the Emergencies Act in response to the trucker convoy. Kyle Benning reports.
It's yet another warning from Ottawa to the protesters that measures will be taken against them. The Deputy Prime Minister didn't reveal how many bank accounts have been frozen, but says the process has started.
They are being used. They will have an impact. And there is a really easy way to avoid being affected by these measures. And that is just go home.
MPs started the debate on the use of the Emergencies Act, even though its rules are already enforced. While they have yet to vote, the New Democrats noted their intention to stand with the Liberal government and vote in favor of the act, which means it would pass in the House of Commons.
It should never come to the point where residents, families, children were harassed, intimidated, terrorized by the convoy.
Jagmeet Singh says his party will keep an eye on the use of the government's power and the fact that the act has to be renewed on a monthly basis. The Conservatives say they will vote it down and criticize the Prime Minister's lack of action before Monday.
We ask the government to commit publicly to a specific plan and timeline to roll back federal mandates and restrictions, but the Liberals and NDP refused to support our plan.
House leaders agreed to continue debate over the coming days before voting on whether the government will carry on enforcing emergency powers. A public hearing will take place after the government pulls back on using the act. Kyle Benning, Global News.
And we have breaking news tonight from Toronto's North End, where one person was shot dead. This is a live look at the scene at Bathurst and Steeles, where homicide detectives are now investigating. Just after 3 o'clock this afternoon, police received reports of a shooting at this residence. A male confirmed dead at the scene. Police say one person is in custody. Information is still coming in. We'll have updates on globalnews.ca and, of course, tonight on Global News at 11.
Police have arrested a 14-year-old boy in connection to the stabbing of a TTC bus driver Wednesday afternoon. A group of young men boarded the bus and allegedly got into an altercation with the operator near Keele and Eglinton. Police say the driver was stabbed. His injuries are serious, but he is expected to make a full recovery. The 14-year-old from Toronto has been charged with aggravated assault. Police are still looking for 2 more teen suspects.
A 14-year-old boy has been arrested following an online threat to an East End Toronto school. The threat made towards Earl Haig Public School near Coxwell and Danforth. The 14-year-old was arrested in the Sudbury area yesterday, remains in custody pending charges. No weapons were recovered. Police say there's currently no threat to the school or to the broader public.
And Peterborough police say 13 small caliber guns are missing following the theft of a trailer that contained thousands of firearms. Investigators found the trailer in Brampton this week, but an inventory check could not account for all of the guns. Police continue to search for the suspects.
Capacity limits were lifted today for Ontario's hard-hit hospitality businesses like restaurants and bars. Marianne Domain has more on the changes.
Alan Liu is looking forward to welcoming back his customers without capacity limits.
The city will be bringing people back next week, so really it's going to be a gradual recovery.
Starting today, capacity limits in public indoor spaces that require proof of vaccination, like restaurants, bars, gyms, and cinemas, have been lifted. For struggling businesses who have been trying to stay afloat with fewer customers, it's another step in the long road to recovery.
The capacity limits have opened up. It's still going to be a slow slog. We are downtown. A lot of things haven't fully reopened yet.
In addition to lifted capacity limits in some businesses, social gatherings have increased to 50 people indoors and 100 people outdoors. Capacity has increased in sports arenas, concert venues, and theaters to 50%. And when it comes to grocery stores, pharmacies, retail, and shopping malls, capacity has increased to the number of people who can physically distance.
I'm glad to see things are, getting back to normal a little bit, and, we do our part.
It's a day Ontarians have been waiting for. The pandemic has hit local businesses hard. Restaurants Canada says thousands of food establishments have shuttered during the pandemic. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business also says local shops have taken on an average of $150,000 in COVID-related debt. At this downtown bakery, welcoming in more business is a serving of good news for both customers and workers.
Life is back again, and we are happy to see our lovely customer back.
It's good for the economy. People should go out there and work, and we should leave to work with the virus instead of shutting down.
For Alan Liu, he and fellow business owners are taking it one day at a time.
With everything during this pandemic, it's just going to be a while for people to get used to it.
Marianne Domain, Global News.
And let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers now. The province reporting this morning that 37 more people have lost their battle with the virus, as the death toll now tops 12,200. There was another drop in hospitalizations. 1,342 people requiring care, down by 61 in the past day. 356 of those patients were being treated in intensive care. That's 8 fewer than the day before.
Ontario's top doctor, Kieran Moore, says the government will review the future of the mask mandate in the weeks following the province's further loosening of restrictions on March 1st.
If and when we transition, it would be from a mandate to mask to a recommendation to mask. I would certainly hope that vulnerable members of our community that are at risk for this virus, that are immune suppressed or transplant patients in public spaces would continue to mask.
And Health Canada has approved Novavax's COVID-19 vaccine for people over the age of 18. Nuvaxovid is the drug, as the drug is called on the label, is the first protein-based COVID-19 vaccine approved for use in Canada. It's a 2-injection regimen. It's been found to be safe and has a 90% efficacy in the trial.
Well, following an unprecedented 2 years of interruptions, Ontario's education system is getting extra attention tonight.
The Ford government announcing more money, a return to the EQAO assessments, and the extension of remote learning for students who want it.
Our Morgan Campbell joins us now with the details. Morgan.
Well, the budget was released earlier today with a focus on really helping students shift back to in-person learning and really catching up over the last 2 years. Let's keep in mind a lot of parents have really believed that their kids are behind, and it's hoped that with that EQAO testing that the province will actually be able to take a bit of a temperature as to where students are. Now let's take a closer look at the budget. It consists of $26.1 billion and includes cash that will go towards the province's Learning Recovery Plan, which is aimed at assisting those students who have fallen behind or really just struggled during the pandemic. This includes summer school support programs, reading and math intervention supports, and online tutoring. Now, the Ford government is also investing about $90 million in mental health supports for not only students but staff as well, in addition to another $93 million for special education. Now, Minister Stephen Lecce says the goal is to have all students recover from lost learning opportunities. Let's have a listen.
All of this is designed to create an education system that puts students first, that focuses on the recovery. And of course, that's going to be bolstered by the tutoring, the summer learning expansion this summer, and a variety of new supports for specialized groups, including racialized kids, Indigenous children, who have disproportionately borne the price of the pandemic. That compassionate lens is what we're applying to everything we do.
Now, a lot of interest, really mounting through parent groups about this online tutoring opportunities and other tutoring opportunities that will be provided to help catch students up. Keep in mind, this has been quite tough, not just for students, but parents as well. Coming up later at 6, we'll take a look at the budget breakdown and talk to some critics who say it just isn't enough.
Thank you, Morgan.
I didn't want to see another family go through what I've gone through, and it happened again.
Emotional pain only a parent can understand. In the wake of a fatal high school shooting, the mother of another young victim talks about the terrible toll. A Global News exclusive coming up.
Water levels here continuing to rise in Brampton. I'm Erica Vella. Coming up, we have the latest on efforts here to help evacuate about 100 homes that have been impacted.